Good morning. Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. Good morning. Who wants socialized medicine? No. Good morning. My name is Ben Markey. I'm State Director of Americans for Prosperity Foundation here in Virginia. And pleased to welcome you this morning. I hope you're getting through the line back there. There's more food coming out shortly. But I want to kick this thing off and tell you a little bit, for those of you who aren't familiar with Americans for Prosperity Foundation, a little bit about us. We're the premier grassroots organization in the nation that focuses on the free market and free enterprise. We are, if you will, boots on the ground for a lot of causes, but we're also educational, and that includes bringing the truth of socialized medicine to the voters and to the taxpayers, and letting them know that
Good morning. You know, I love it that my boss can get cheers just at the mention of his name, George Allen. It was a pleasure to serve as your Secretary of Health when I was in that position in Virginia, and I would go around the state and somebody would say, now tell me again who you are and what you do, and I'd say, oh, I work for you. Our governor always reminded us when we were in the cabinet that we worked for the people of Virginia. But can you imagine the phone call that came when George Allen, newly elected, said, Kay, I'd like for you to come in and serve as Virginia's Secretary of Health and Human Resources. Now, what you need to know is Virginia is sort of unique in that both of those are embodied in one secretariat. But at that particular time in our country, we were in the middle of a huge battle with Hillary over health care. And so, you know, I step back for a minute and say, you may want to think about that. Are you sure this is exactly what you want me to do? And when I hung up the phone, I thought about it. I said, so you mean I can actually have as my job every day waking up and going to fight Hillary on health care? Sign me up. I'll do it. I want to remind us, and I don't think I need to remind you because of the fact that you're here, that our particular form of government requires, not suggests, but requires that we educate ourselves and participate in our government. No issue is more complex than healthcare reform or requires more education for us as citizens. So I am encouraged that there are enough Virginians that would roll out of bed this morning to educate themselves on this issue. Our democracy is alive and well, and I am encouraged that you're here. Okay, so what are we here to do? First of all, you hear the term healthcare reform. And I think the first thing we need to do is to figure out exactly what the issue is, because it gets awfully muddled and awfully confused. What's the whole goal? What's the end game? And I always try to define that, because if you don't know where you're going, you won't know when you get there. That's like deep. Write that down. If you don't know where you're going, you won't know when you get there. So we could be off and down a road, and we want timely and affordable access. And we are willing even to pay a little more sometimes to get what we want. Our doctors and nurses don't want to be salaried state employees as they are in Britain and elsewhere. There's a reason that those doctors and nurses and medical researchers come to this country. You know, and as much as we might complain about our appointments or how long the doctor kept us waiting, we haven't seen anything compared to the European models, where sometimes you have to wait 3 to 15 months for treatment, according to some recent studies. Now, don't get me wrong. we do have some problems with our healthcare system. But they are not problems that are solvable by a huge government takeover. There are 3 words that I want to leave with you. I want you to remember, we do want quality. We do, in fact, want competition. And we do, in fact, want choice. And we can have all of that without Obama-styled, socialized government takeover of our healthcare system. Thank you.
Events like this across the country, and I just want to do a poll this morning. How many of you think we ought to bring Kay Cole James on the road with us? Wow. Wow. That was so impressive. As a young man, I remember her serving in the Allen administration with such courage. I say that carefully, but she had the courage to stand up and do the right thing for the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we are so fortunate to hear from her this morning. And we've got to keep her out there, and we're going to do that. Well, I'm Tim Phillips, President of Americans for Prosperity. And I want to just take a moment to tell you about what our organization is about and what we're doing. We're a grassroots organization that focuses on our economic freedoms. Lower taxes, less spending, more freedom to make choices like health care, for example. And have you noticed that the other side on all of these issues, they have mobilized bases of people who turn out, whether it's public employee unions, you've seen them out there waving signs and demanding more health care or more card check or all these different things. You've seen these radical environmentalists out there on their issues. And now you're seeing them moving to demand government-run health care. Have you ever noticed that our side really doesn't do as much of that? And I've thought about that. And do you know why?
We work.
We work. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. You know, the other side wants something from government, don't they? They want more money, more jobs, more power. They want something tangible. We want to be left alone to enjoy the freedoms that we have here in America. That's what we want. We want to work. We want to raise our families. We want to serve in our community. We want to be able to pursue our faith. That's what we want. But here is the great paradox of that point. If you and I want to be left alone to enjoy and exercise our freedoms, we have got to get involved and do it now. That's what we've got to do. That's it. Now look, I know, now I'm preaching to the choir.
Did you know that health care comprises 20% of the American economy? 20%. Did you know that in order to lay a groundwork for socialism, what a coup in one move to grab 20% of the American economy in one move. And it's not about making your health care better. And I'll tell you this, because the difference between the American ideals that our forefathers gave us, which was focused on the individual. Individuals had rights. We were endowed with certain inalienable rights by our creators. Our forefathers believed that our rights were innate. We were born with them. They were in our DNA. There were certain inalienable rights, and we talked about them: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And so American principles was about the individual and the ability of the individual to attain and the ability of the individual to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. But the focus of socialism is not about the individual. It's about the collective. It's about the collective good. And so instead of your rights being endowed by your creator, your rights in the minds of the socialists are driven by government. And they're only for the collective good. The individual and the individual's rights mean nothing. It's about the collective good. And that is why In the delivery of health care, certain decisions will be made on your behalf, not by you, but for you. Not for your family, but by the government. And your rights will be trampled on. This is a system that is un-American.